Right, welcome to this 40k battle report, 2,000 points. We've got Chaos Daemons, entirely Nurgle, against the new 1,000 Suns. We've got the Scorched Earth mission from the Grand Tournament pack. So there's 6 objectives, 2 in no man's land, which are hiding behind scenery there, 2 in each deployment zone. In terms of secondaries, the Chaos Daemons have taken Stranglehold to the last and raised the banners high. 1,000 Suns have taken Wrath of Magnus, which is just the auto one. So basically, if you do more damage to me in the psychic phase, you get 3 victory points a turn, don't you?
Yeah.
So you get 15 victory points. There's Assassination and Psychic Interrogation, the psychic action, because your Warlord can enhance the chances of achieving psychic actions.
Yes.
Won't go over too much of the stuff. We'll try and explain it as and when it comes. Obviously, 1,000 Suns has many, many spells. Actually, this Nurgle army has quite a lot of spells, but it'll be easy to say which ones actually get off there. We'll go into the first turn, so we'll find out who gets the first turn and be back after that first movement phase. So, Chaos Daemons got the first turn, so on 7 command points, the number of Nurgle. And movement, advance with this unit of Plague Bearers there. Advance with the Beasts of Nurgle, although I don't actually think I used the advance. Advance with the Plague Drone, so they're over on that objective there. And I just shuffled around with other things. Oh, actually, I didn't move that. Heck, he can move in there like that, why not? Just move those Nurglings to try and cover any sort of teleportation nastiness. Those, less coverage, but hopefully just enough there. And that's it for movement. We'll be back after technically psychic and shooting, but there's not really going to be any shooting. Okay, so we're back after the psychic phase and the shooting phase and the charge phase and the fight phase and the morale phase, because nothing happened in any of them. So I tried to get off a Miasma of Pestilence on the Plague Drones, even taking a hunk out of his flesh, which he failed to ignore, but he heals it back at the end of the turn because of Endless Gift. Didn't even cast it, couldn't even get it off, let alone worry about it being denied. So nothing happened in the psychic phase, nothing happened anywhere else. So in terms of secondaries, I do hold 3 objectives, so I get 3 points for Stranglehold. That's the end of the turn. We'll be back in the 1,000 Suns turn 1. So 1,000 Suns, they gained a command point, an ability on those guys over there. So their bolters, is it a +1 strength?
Everything ranged is +1 strength.
So their weapons are +1 strength. So things basically move forwards. This unit of Flamers advanced, but everything else just moved. So everything has basically moved towards the battle lines over there. So we will be back after, I think we'll be back after the psychic phase, because there's probably going to be a lot happening in the psychic phase and the shooting phase separately. Okay, so after the psychic phase, this is the dead pile here. So due to various things, I'll do what I can remember. So well, first of all, at the start of the phase, I used 2 command points to give Mammon an aura 6 inches around him to be able to re-roll disgustingly resilient rolls of 1. And then Star proceeded to cast no spells against them, or at least no offensive spells. But 2 Plague Drones have been killed. Unfortunate there. A Beast of Nurgle has been killed as well as 3 Plague Bearers. So that's it at the moment. Disgustingly resilient rolls hopefully will do a little bit better in the shooting phase. I'm going to have to spend another 2 command points in then as well. Now, in terms of things that have been done, so Araman has shut off my invulnerable save to this unit of Plague Bearers, which is unfortunate because they're about to be shot by the only weapon that doesn't care about their -1 to be hit.
And which has +1 strength on it.
And now has +1 strength, so it'll be wounding on 3s. What else was cast?
Weaver of Fates on the rubrics.
Which means?
4 up invulnerable saves.
Right, okay. Lovely.
And -1 to be hit against, I believe, the Flamer squad.
Right,
Als glömmer oft intro so.
Right, lovely. So there we go. We'll go into the shooting phase. We'll be back then. So after the shooting phase, just to compare, Thousand Suns get a very strong psychic phase these days, and their shooting phase isn't bad. Their psychic phase dead pile is here. Their shooting phase dead pile is 20 of my best Plague Marines. Plague Bearers, 4 Plague Bearers there. 3 more Plague Drones, and there's 1 remaining on 1 wound left. Is the standard bearer, of course, in case he can roll a 1, if he even survives against the charge phase. Absolutely brutal. Obviously, the fact that those Plague Bearers couldn't have an invulnerable save meant that I didn't even have the option. I mean, half of them you would have expected to have died if, actually slightly less than half, if I'd have been able to give them that 4-up invulnerable, because they also did roll a bit poorly on the Disgustingly Resilient as well. So the situation we're in at the moment, we've got 10 Plague Bearers left alive there. That's challenging. We've got, I think altogether, I've probably lost 7 from there now. And obviously I've lost 5 Plague Drones. I've lost a Beast of Nurgle as well, which I'm not happy about, but that was in the psychic phase. So we'll be back at the end of the turn really, because there'll be a charge phase, I suppose, and then can't imagine everything will get in. So we'll see what happens after that at the end of the turn. Right, so the end of the first battle round. The Nurgle dead pile is quite impressive. Just to go through what happened after the charge phase. So there was 1 charge successful there. It didn't actually kill the Plague Drone, even though the Plague Drone isn't there. It saved everything. It was on 1 wound. It remained on 1 wound. But with morale, I didn't auto pass it because I wanted to auto pass those. You know, that might have been a bit foolish. I don't know. But it wasn't worth it because I wasn't going to have the primary anyway there because it was contested. So I chose to risk it and try and roll there. I didn't get a 1. I did run away, so that's gone. Over here we did get a 1 because the Sloppity Bile Piper meant I could roll 2d6 and select the lowest. There was a 1. So I brought 3 back there. Those Plague Bearers didn't fail, but they didn't get a 1 either, so they don't get any more back. And I auto-passed these ones, and the Beast of Nurgle don't care because their leadership's high enough, they only lost 1. So at the end of the first battle round, the Wrath of Magnus was achieved, of course, because more damage was done in the psychic phase than I did. The psychic interrogation, of course, was also achieved. So Chaos Demons are on 6 points to 3 points. Sorry, Thousand Suns are on 6 points to the Chaos Demons 3 points. We'll be back after my second movement phase and see where we are there. Right, so after my turn, I gained a command point. Of course, I'm on 2 command points now. Everyone sort of moved aggressively. So what I've done, I've fallen back out of combat there purely to be able to capture that objective. I got 10 points for the primary at the start. I only held my own 2. The Raise the Banners was completed, so I got 2 victory points for that. They'll be murdered again, but at the moment they hold that objective. So at the end of the turn, I fully expect to hold that objective at the end of the turn as well. So I would have Stranglehold just for an extra 3 victory points. It's really looking a bit grim. Those Plague Bearers have shaped up to try and get a charge off against the Mutolith Vortex Beast. Mammon is, these characters are then just going to be stuck out on their own, but he's going to hope to get his shooting off against them, see how they like flamers in the face. Everything around here just moved to try and get some charges in. I'm hoping for a massive charge from the Plague Bearers to be able to really move around, but we will see what happens. It's all looking a bit unlikely, but we'll come back after the charge and shooting phase. Okay, so I lied. I'd completely forgotten about the psychic phase. So we've done the psychic and the shooting. So in the psychic phase, my Great Unclean One cast... Oh, what was he cast first? He cast Miasma of Pestilence.
Yes.
And he cast it on a... He hooked out his guts. He rolled a double 6. So it's a perils, but it was cast. And he's put that on these Plague Bearers. Unfortunately, he'd taken a mortal wound from the Bile Blade. I saved that. Then he took 3 from the the perils, he actually took 3 mortal wounds, saved only 1 of those. 1 of them was healed at the end of the phase, so he's actually lost a wound. Then he cast a smite, got a super smite on 11. Unfortunately, only did 1 damage. Never mind. Moving on, the Poxbringer did successfully get off his Virulent Blessing, didn't he, on those?
Yes.
But then the Great Unclean One over here attempted a smite, but that was only just cast and that was unbound. So that's the psychic phase. Then the shooting phase, Mammon powered up and basically killed 6 of those Warp Flamers with his own special kind. So letting them know what they think of it. At which point, if I'm absolutely insane, I might even be tempted to charge these into those now. But they still have no invulnerable save. So I might think about that. But that is where we are with the shooting anyway. The shooting phase was successful. So it will be the charge phase. The charge phase will be absolutely crucial. Okay, so the end of the turn now. Charges was reasonably successful. The Plague Bearers did get a nice charge, which allowed the Beasts of Nurgle to get in. Unfortunately, this guy is still distressingly alive on 1 wound. Most unfortunate. The Sloppity Bilepiper tried a charge in as well, failed that. The charge over here failed, so there was no combats over here. So in return, the Beasts of Nurgle got a 2 wound smack in the mouth. So that's where we are at the end of Nurgle's turn 2. I've got 18 victory points at the moment, so we're about to go into Thousand Suns turn 2, and then we'll see where we are at the end of the movement phase. Right, so movement phase. First of all, that sneaky bugger, it was a relic, wasn't it, the crystal?
Yes.
So he was able to break that and just teleport out of dodge and then pop up over there. The Terminators have moved there. The attempt in the command phase to get a +1 to strength of weapons failed. So it's really just a case of getting a command point back and moving. So everything's really moved, nothing's advanced. Everything's moved into positions to be able to shoot in the shooting phase and then get charges in to mop up the remaining forces. So we'll be back after the psychic phase because there'll be enough going on in there, and then we'll do the shooting phase separately. So after the psychic phase, we'll just go through the sum total of it. 1 Plague Bearer dead from there, 2 Plague Bearers from this unit, very few left now. I don't think they're going to get you to use their Plague Banner, if I'm honest. 6 Plague Bearers died from there, 1 Beast of Nurgle, and the remaining Beast of Nurgle is now on 1 wound. There was a lot of mortal wounds flying around there. So obviously Wrath of Magnus was achieved. The Psychic Interrogation was also achieved at the start of the phase as well. So that's another 6 victory points just from the Psychic phase there. So we'll be back after the shooting phase. So we'll just take one last shot of this unit there, because the other thing that happened in shooting phase is 2 of those Runic Marines were brought back using a command point and a spell. So after the shooting phase, there's a lot been thinned out. So there's all those Plague Bearers dead, so there's only a few left over there. 2 lost from this one, but they weren't really focused. The Great Unclean One is now on 10 wounds left, so he's been badly battered, and that Plague Bearer unit is all but finished, and there's obviously going to be charges next as well. So that's their dead pile there. So that was the shooting phase. We will be back after, well, we're back at the end of the turn because there'll be a charge phase, fight phase. Things will die, and then we'll look at it at the end of the battle round. Right, so at the end of that turn, so predictably those Plague Bearers were smashed. Great Unclean One, the thing charged in, the Great Unclean One intervened. End result was no damage done to me. 6 wounds, I think, done to the Vortex Beast. These and the morale phase did roll a 1, so they blinked and got 4 back, but that unit of Plague Marines is all dead. After the fight phase, I think that was it. So that's the end of battle round 2. So at the moment, Thousand Suns are on what? 32, 22 even. And Demons are on 18. So we'll be going into Demons turn 3. But it's really just a case of trying to clump what I can here. I don't even know if I can get that thing into combat with anything, so I'm a bit buggered here. The Sloppity Bilepiper is in the wrong place. But anyway, we'll see what happens then. So battle round 3, again a command point. I'm on 2 command points now. In terms of movement, things have just moved around here. Nothing has advanced. I'd have been tempted to advance the Plague Bearers if I was near the Sloppity Bilepiper, but I'm not. So we have just moved around here. The Nurglings have stayed where they are. They've obviously stayed in combat. It's really just a case of, can I get anything into combat to do anything decent with? You know, I'm likely to charge the Plague Bearers in there to absorb the warp fire and then see if we can get some big charges in here, but we'll just have to see. But it'll be the psychic phase and the shooting phase first. Right, so the psychic phase, really quick to explain. Basically, I took a wound that I healed back, hooking my guts out and not saving it, but then failing to cast the Fleshy Abundance, which would have given me D3 wounds back. Nothing got off. It was either cast and unbound or just didn't get off, or denied rather. But in the shooting phase, Mammon killed 3 more of those Warp Flamers, so I'm going to be charging in next. There's no points for Overwatch, so we will see what happens then. Okay, so at the end of the turn then, the fight phase, it was a bit of a damp squib really. Only 1 Plague Bearer died there. Nothing else was wounded. The Mutilix Vortex Beast only took 2 more wounds. No wounds in return. So that was the fight phase. At the end of the proceedings here, at the end of turn 3 for Chaos Daemons, they're on 30 victory points with 1,000 Suns on 22. So we'll go into 1,000 Suns turn 3, where they will then pull ahead. So after the movement, everything's moved forwards here. The Mutilix Vortex Beast has run away. They're all in combat. The Mauler Fiend, who's apparently called Fluffy, has moved around here. And they've just shuffled there. They've shuffled there, so they're still on the objective. That guy's just stayed there. And that guy stayed over there so that he can do the psychic action soon as well. So we'll be back after the psychic phase.
Actually, before that,
right.
I did also in command phase gain a free reroll.
Yes, that's right. So you got a command point and a free reroll on a 3-up as well. Right, so after the psychic phase, the upshot is the Great Unclean One took a few more wounds. He's only on 6 wounds left now. The Sloppity Bowpiper is dead. The Great Unclean One here doesn't have an invulnerable save anymore. Over here, 2 Plague Bearers died. And that was pretty much it. So we'll be back.
1 rubric came back to
Oh, yes, of course. That's right. 1 rubric came back, but no command points to bring an extra one back. So we'll be back after the shooting phase. So after the shooting phase, the Great Unclean One Warlord has been killed. Unfortunately, his final wound was taken with a pistol. Rest of the shooting has done 5 wounds to this Great Unclean One, 1 wound to Mammon. That's about it at the moment. So that's the shooting phase. We'll be into the charge phase where those Nurglings are looking a little bit nervous now. They're obviously still locked in combat there as well. So we'll be back after the fight phase. Well, actually probably after at the end of the turn now. So after that turn, not a lot actually happened in the fight phase. The Nurglings obviously have died there, so I've lost that, as well as the banner, of course, that was on it. Another few have died from there. The morale was failed, but only 1. No others fled, so only 1 fled. So the situation at the moment is 1,000 Suns at the end of battle round 3 are on 45 points. Chaos Demons on 30. So it's not realistic now, but just to exact a little bit of revenge, because there won't be much to it, I think we'll play the 4th battle round, and I might just give a clump into some of those Terminators if I'm lucky. We'll see how that goes. I'm not actually sure how easily I'll be able to do it, because that's going to be slightly in my way to get both of them in, but we're going to have a go. And yeah, so we'll be back at the end of my movement phase in turn 4. Right, so turn 4, after the movement phase, so obviously I just gained a command point in the command phase, so I'm back up to 2. I've moved Mammon and the Great Unclean One over here, so they're going to fire into and hopefully charge the Terminators. The Nurglings moved to the other side. The Poxbringer has just moved over there. He's going to get a charge in. This is all basically Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid stuff now. We're just going to charge in, see what happens. It's an unassailable lead, but we'll just play this battle round just for a little bit of clumping, maybe, and hope it's not just throwing a few things and then not getting charges in. So after the shooting phase, we're fired in the Relic Flare, which I think just did a couple of wounds on the Terminator. Then Mammon powered up again, so he killed that Terminator and 2 more. So 3 Terminators have gone. We'll see if we get the charge in. I've saved 1 command point for a reroll on a charge. I'd like to get them both in, but we will just have to see. So after the end of the turn, unfortunately the charge rolls were both failed. And then the Poxbringer over there rolled quite a large charge roll. He rolled a 9 when he didn't need it at all. He couldn't fail it. So it was misplaced charge there. Even with the real roll, the charges just failed. So that is what it is. All the Plague Bearers have now been killed over there. So the situation we're in. So in that turn, I got 5 for the primary. I got 1 for Raise the Banners. I still have 1 banner. So I'm on 36. Thousand Suns are on 45. They're going to go into the next turn. We'll do the next turn anyway, and then we'll call it a day there. Right, so in the command phase, nothing spectacular happened other than getting a command point. But after the movement phase, we're surrounded. We're all surrounded. So we'll see what happens after the psychic phase. I'm just thinking if we do the psychic and then... No, we'll do the psychic phase together because there's still plenty of psychic to come in. So after the psychic phase, there's 2 more of these Terminators been brought back with a CP and a spell. The Great Unclean One has taken a few wounds. He has gone, only he doesn't get to heal anything back. So he's on 11 wounds left now. Mammon is left on 5 wounds. The Poxbringer over there is on 1 wound left. It says 2 on the die, I haven't changed it yet. So that was the psychic phase, so it will now be the shooting phase. So after the shooting phase, Mammon's been destroyed there. The Great Unclean One has taken a battering. He is still alive on 3 wounds remaining. So we'll go into the charge phase and then we'll see what happens at the end of the turn. Right, so at the end of that, things are pretty much dead. There's 2 Nurglings left. So the current scores are, of course, 74 to the Thousand Suns and 36 to Chaos Daemons. There won't be a final turn, of course. If there were a final turn, in actual fact, I'm objective secured, so I would still get that banner and the primary, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
So I'd get another 6 points. I'd be on 42. That is my scoring potential done. In return, to max out the primaries, Thousand Suns would get 10 points. It is possible to get a final Wrath of Magnus to max that out, because you could just kill Plague Bearers in the psychic phase. So then that would be another, but you can't get anything else. That would be another 17. So that would put you on, how does that work?
87?
Yeah. No, that's not working. 13. Sorry, 13. That makes sense now. I was thinking I could get more than 90. So yeah, sorry, I'm just showing the scoreboard. So that would put you on 87. So that'd be maxing out on everything apart from psychic interrogation, for which it wouldn't be possible. So yeah, I mean, after the first turn, I was pretty nasty after the first turn. It obliterated the army. And the thing with the Warp Flamers is you daren't charge them.
No.
Because if they've got command points to Overwatch, you can't charge them. They'll just be obliterated. Particularly when, I mean, having the invulnerable set, it's like layer on layer of things they've got. It's dominant psychic phase, and then it's not just about the mortal wounds, although that's quite nasty. It's also about things like removing invulnerable saves. Like, this is a Nurgle army. It can withstand the mortal wounds, disgustingly resilient. And yet it was still, the dead pile was very quickly racked up. The shooting phase, supported by the psychic phase, is just incredibly nasty. But there it is. There we go. Hope you enjoyed it anyway. We're back on with Age of Sigmar next week. We did think we knew what armies it was going to be. We now don't. So we're just going to have to wait on something. But if you did enjoy it, then don't forget to click the like button. And until next time, we'll see you later.